Today I'm going to be breaking down the top 3 easiest spam strategies you can use here at Townhall 10 to 3-star any base. So the first strategy we're going to be taking a look at is an all-time classic, and that is going to be Zap Witches. Honestly, this strategy is incredibly powerful. You don't really even need the epic equipment on your 2 heroes. You can switch out those for regular pieces of equipment or whatever you have maxed out. The only piece of equipment I would definitely recommend is going to be those earthquake boots. So let's jump in and we'll break this down. So the first thing we're going to be doing with this strategy is of course using those lightning spells and earthquake spells, and those are going to be used with the Inferno Towers. Those are the key things that we're looking to take down. Of course, here at Townhall 10 there are going to be 2 of them, and each one is going to require 4 lightning spells and an earthquake spell in order to take it down. If you have 2 multi-target Infernos, you're definitely going to need to zap them out. If you only have 1 multi-target Inferno, you could potentially swap out your remaining spells for rages, heals, anything like that, because the single target Inferno does not pose as much of a threat against witches as the multi-target Infernos do. But in this particular use case, we're just going to act like there are 2 multi-target Infernos and we're going to zap out both of them. Now remember, when you're using your earthquakes and zaps, try to catch as many buildings as you possibly can. Don't just place it on the Inferno Tower. As you can see right here, we're trying to catch the Inferno, Wizard Tower, Expo a little bit, just trying to maximize the amount of value we're getting. For the next stage, super simple. You've already zapped out 2 of the heaviest defenses, and now it's just a case of spamming. You're going to put your 3 golems fairly spread out, and it's always going to be from the opposite Town Hall side. So our Town Hall is over here, which means we are attacking from this side over here. Golems, of course, really high hit point troops, so they are going to be going out in front doing all of our heavy lifting. We're then basically going to just spam in all of those witches to get maximum value. King and Queen both going to be coming in with those log launchers. Remember, the wall wrecker, not the log launcher. Remember what I said about the heroes equipment? You don't really need to worry about anything too much other than the earthquake boots on the Barbarian King. We have the double poison spell coming down here because we definitely do not want the dragon or balloon locking onto our heroes or our witches. We want to make sure they're pushing all the way through into the core, which is exactly what's happening here. The good thing about this particular strategy, if we pause things up for a second, you guys can see we basically continuously get funnels around the outside of the base as some of our troops are in the core. Those witches do a great job at clearing out defenses, especially if you have plenty of those skeletons coming out. As that wall wrecker does end up popping, bowlers are going to be the choice of troop coming out of there, with 1 giant just in there to help along proceedings. The bowler probably one of the strongest troops here at Townhall 10, and actually we will see it featuring slightly later on in this particular video. If you would like any of the links for the strategies today, as always, they are down in the description below for you to pick up. While you're down there, feel free to go ahead and subscribe to us here at the Barracks. We are putting out multiple videos every single week for all the town halls here in Clash of Clans, trying to cover as many strategies as possible, so there should be something for every single one of you. But finish up with a 3-star here with probably one of my favorite strategies at Townhall 10. It's super simple and it brings in plenty of 3 stars. And next up, we're going to be coming in with Zap Dragons. Of course, again, one of the strongest strategies down here at Townhall 10, and the most important piece of equipment on this attack is going to be the giant arrow. It's going to carry you so far in these type of attacks because it does so much damage at these lower town halls. So let's jump in, we'll take a look at this one and break it down. So the first thing we're going to be doing with this strategy is identifying 2 of the air defenses that we're going to be able to pick out with our giant arrow. So typically what you tend to do is find one of the air defenses, click on it. When you do this in scout mode or even before you start your attack, it will end up selecting all of the air defenses so you can see where they all are. You're going to try and pick out 2 of them that you can line your giant arrow ability up with. If you haven't used this before, basically it shoots directly across the base in the direction that the queen is facing. So if she's facing from this side to that side, it's going to go straight across the middle of the base, if that makes sense. So we're trying to identify 2 of the air defenses that we can get value from. Actually, if we were really smart, we could potentially get 1, 2, and 3 if we manage to line it up correctly. but that's easier said than done. So I think we're going to end up probably going for this one and this one. That's exactly what we do. We pop that giant arrow ability from the queen, and then we're going to go ahead and zap out the other ones. Now, it's a little bit frustrating here at Townhall 10 because you can't quite take down those air defenses with 3 lightning spells. You need to bring that additional earthquake spell in order to get them down. But it is super close. But as you can see, that's exactly what we're going to be doing. Earthquake spell coming on through, then we bring in those lightning spells, and all of the air defenses have been dealt with. Poison spell then going to come down on those clan castle troops. Of course, if you lure them out early, you're going to want to try and deal with them early. If you don't, it's not the end of the world. Dragons are a fantastic troop at clearing out enemy clan castle troops themselves. Going to be swinging on through now with the rest of our army, and honestly it is as simple as this. You're going to bring your king in for the funnel on the opposite side of your queen, who is obviously currently down here. Stone Slammer is going to come at the opposite side of your dragons. Typically you're going to want to avoid the air sweepers, which is kind of why we're coming in at this side angle. We're maybe going to get caught by a couple of those sweeper blasts, but not too many should catch us. Stone Slammer doing its job over there on the right hand side of the base, and the dragons can now push into the middle and clear out the remaining defenses. With those spells you have left up, you're probably going to want to use them on a fairly large group of those dragons, or even balloons if you have any left up. That is going to of course include potentially your Stone Slammer when it does end up popping. That rage spell could come down, help you get through whatever defenses are currently chewing up your troops. The freeze, again, that's just to help with things like Tesla Farm, which we ended up popping here, as well as enemy heroes, the Minion Prince or the Archer Queen. Of course, the Barbarian King himself doesn't pose too much of a threat here on defense, but that's going to be another 3-star swagging the King's ability there at the end. And again, dragons, one of my favorite troops. They're so unbelievably easy to use, and honestly, they're very strong. And for that third and final strategy, it's one I actually made a video on fairly recently, and it's going to be GoBoWi. We have those golems, we have those bowlers, and of course those witches. And like I said earlier in the video, where we were looking at that Zap Witch attack, this is equally as strong, but we don't really need to worry so much about the Inferno Towers in this one, because we're going to be bringing in those bowlers, helps with the extra splash damage as you push through the core, and we have those heal spells to try and help protect our witches and those skeletons they summon. So let's jump in and take a look at this one. So the first thing we're going to be doing, of course, is coming from the opposite side of the base, exactly the same as in that previous Zap Witch attack. Townhall is over here, so we're going to be attacking all the way from over here, because the Wall Wrecker, if you didn't know, it directly targets the Townhall, so it's going to make a beeline for wherever that Townhall may be. Golems are going to be going out in front, as you can see right here. We're then going to be getting our bowlers in slightly delayed. You'll see we have our king, our queen, as well as the skeleton spell that's going to be coming in to tank for any single target infernos. If there are multi-target infernos, you can go ahead and use the skeleton spell on the enemy heroes. Wall breaking into those first couple of compartments to make sure our troops don't walk around the edge, and then we're going to go ahead and get that Wall Wrecker swinging on through. Typically you want to delay on those bowlers because you don't want them to get locked onto by any of those defenses. We want to make sure that the witches are getting some skeletons summoned in there, the golems are out in front doing all that tanking, and then you can start to think about the remaining portion of the attack. Valkyries are going to be the troop of choice coming out of that Wall Wrecker, raging and healing them up. Very important to try and maximize the amount of damage. Typically though, if the Townhall is right on the outside of the base, you may want to pop that Wall Wrecker slightly earlier so you can try to keep your Valkyries in the core and you get the maximum use out of those two spells. But you'll see in this one, complete overkill, again swagging that King's ability, Queen swagging hers as well, and as with all those previous attacks, the hero equipment is completely up to you guys. My high recommendation is with the Witch attack, so with this one and the Zap Witches, the Earthquake Boots on that King, very beneficial to make sure we open up some of those back end wall compartments. And as for the dragon attack, of course the giant arrow on that Queen is the most important piece of equipment to help take down those air defenses. But hopefully you guys did find this video helpful. These are 3 of the strategies I regularly use here at Townhall 10, and I very rarely fail with them. They're super strong, very easy to spam like you guys have seen today, and hopefully they'll bring you some 3 stars.